Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In this beautiful month of October, I'm preparing a few seasonal recipes that are each linked to a special Catholic feast day from that week. These recipes make use of seasonal ingredients either from the market or items that I'm still harvesting from the garden. It's been a year of making these videos and I'm convinced now more than ever that the connection between food and faith is ever present and continues to inspire. My hope is that inspires you too. So let's put on our aprons and head into the kitchen. I'm SB and this is SB Living. The weather has been really unexpected lately. We've had long periods of rain and then a week of extremely warm weather. And usually by this time of year, my basil plants have already been done, but not this time around. So I'm going to take advantage of the nicer weather and harvest all the remaining basil. I grow a few different varieties, some low growing and bushy and some taller with bigger leaves. And I use this vintage style basin because it's deep and large and never disappoints. Once inside, I'm going to give them a good rinse and prepare a batch to make some pesto. The rest will go into the freezer and will be ready and waiting for whenever I need to make sauce during the winter. Making fresh pesto is one of the best ways to use up a large amount of basil. I make a good amount a few times during the growing season, always for pasta first, and then the remainder I like to have on toast, to sauces, garnishing fish or chicken. I've heard you can freeze the pesto in ice cube trays and keep them frozen in the freezer, which I think is a great idea, but I tend to run through the batch pretty quickly before needing to do any freezing. My version of pesto includes only the basics: basil, lots of olive oil, grated cheese, salt, pepper, and garlic. I stop every now and then to taste test until I get to my liking, and then it's ready for whatever I need it for. I'm using most of the pesto sauce for some pasta that I'll be tossing with these mushrooms and peppers. I was particularly inspired by the feast of St. Francis of Assisi, who is best known for his deep love of nature and all of God's creatures. So a harvest-style meal like this one reflects all of the abundance found in the season and makes good use of what we are able to grow and nurture around us. Mushrooms are synonymous with autumn and cooler weather, and their aroma, once they're cooked with some rosemary or thyme, it just feels like you're in the middle of a forest. The sweetness of the peppers balance out the earthy flavors of the mushrooms, and best of all, it doesn't take long for all this to come together. Pairing these vegetables with some pasta coated in fresh pesto sauce make for a light and easy meal for the weeknights that are just starting to get darker and darker. any shape of pasta would work here. My children just prefer spaghetti with their pesto, and while that is boiling, I transfer the vegetables to a plate just when they are cooked through. Tossing the pasta is always key, and I always recommend to toss more than you think just to get as much sauce around the pasta as possible. For a boost of protein, I like to pop a poached egg on top, and the runny yolk rounds out this otherwise perfect meal. Next up is a comforting and cozy meal of roasted Cornish hens and potatoes. I try not to use the oven during the hot summer months, so when the fall comes, I'm all about roasting and baking. During this week, we had celebrated the Feast of the Holy Guardian Angels, those that offer their protection and comfort in our times of need. And what better way to honor their support of us than to settle into a meal just as comforting? There's a few times during my childhood that I remember feeling the safest and most calm, and coming from a typical Italian family, those memories always included food. Roasted chicken is one of them, whether it was a large one that was almost turkey size or these Cornish hens my mother preferred. The aroma of a roasting chicken brings me right back to these moments when I'm making those same meals. I hope to create those same memories and connections for my own children. I like to cut the potatoes in wedges because they are easier to arrange on the baking sheet, and it ensures that at least one side of the potato gets that dark crust that everybody loves. After a drizzle of olive oil over everything, I sprinkle some paprika on the chicken for both color and flavor. While all that is roasting, I get going on a chopped salad. Without thinking too much about it, we tend to follow the 1 meat, 2 veg rule. Where there's one cooked vegetable, there is almost always another fresh one on the table as well. I always like to make a crisp salad with whatever garnishes I can take from the fridge, tossing it all with my hands, of course. It's an easy way to balance out a heavier meal and make sure everyone gets enough servings of vegetables. While we wait for the chicken and potatoes to finish roasting, I like to enjoy the downtime with a cup of soothing tea and a small plate of little bites. I usually pair up some cheese, dried fruit, nuts, simple nutritious things, not necessarily filling, just to pick. and it's a nice way to enjoy a moment of reflection and gratitude, helping us to pause and connect with our spirituality and faith for just a few minutes of every day. My favorites lately have been dried apricots and pistachios with some manchego cheese. There's some sweetness, saltiness, some sharpness. It's a pretty nice combination. To go with it, I make some milky Earl Grey tea, and then it's off to the couch until dinner is done. I was so excited for this dinner because I have never cooked Delicata squash before. I've grown it, I've bought it, but mostly for table decor. I was pretty curious about cooking it, so decided to saute some ground turkey and tomatoes to serve right inside this roasted squash. This was a simple preparation, one that didn't take too much mental space. It just took some time. And isn't that true for so many other things as well, right? It's a Catholic tradition that October is dedicated to the Holy Rosary, and in fact, I made this meal on the actual feast day of the Holy Rosary. And just like the time it takes to go step by step to make dinner, it reminds me of the persistence it sometimes takes to pray the Rosary, or any prayer really, especially during the times when we don't feel up to it, when we feel rushed, or even distracted. I feel all those things some nights when I still have to put dinner on the table, but I still do it because it's important if I want my family to eat well. So if you're ever feeling rushed or distracted or too tired to get through your prayers or anything else you need to do, just know that you have absolutely been able to do other things in those same conditions before. You will feel so much better and stronger at the other end. Once the squash was roasted, the turkey stuffed inside, I sprinkled some cheese on top before putting it back in the oven for a few minutes. The end result was filling, warm, comforting, without any heaviness. It's the perfect kind of meal to settle into during a season filled with gratitude. Click the next video on the screen or the playlist underneath it for more content like this one, and even better, subscribe, like, and hit the bell. See you all next time.